new background you have right now for us this time, and is it anywhere close to connecting to rebranding or changing things about? Because today's day and date, we are going to actually have a discussion on something related to it. And thanks to the article that you forwarded me about hospitality brands and them going into tier 1 and tier 2 cities. So you want to talk a little bit about that, or you want to talk about the background first?
Yeah, it is a rebranding. I'm trying to change the room a little bit. Let's make it more peppy.
I think it looks cool. I think it looks cool.
So coming to the topic, so there is a shift of, I mean, or you can say an expansion of the hotel industry to
Yeah.
not just tier one, but tier two and three cities of India. And so this quarter, the first quarter investment itself was around $117 million into like 6 to 7 cities like Amritsar, Bhatinda, and
Okay.
all. Yeah, and the 2024 figures of the greenfield projects, they were more than double that of 2023.
Yeah.
So there is a definite shift where the big hotel chains, the newer coming brands, they are looking at the tier two and three cities, and there are a number of factors: the increasing manufacturing ecosystem, increasing businesses. The head offices are going not just from Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad to smaller cities like Chandigarh is seeing a lot of upcoming ones. Jaipur is seeing a lot of startups opening almost weekly, right? And then the tourism. The Indian government has been promoting Indian tourism like anything in the past 5 to 6 years, right?
Yes.
So all of these shifts indicate uh, a little more, cultural penetration into the unbeaten parts of India.
I
So
would add a couple of more things to it. One is perhaps the refusal of people to go the Oyo route, right? I think Oyo has faced a few setbacks, especially by single people in general. But besides that, I think Oyo has faced a few setbacks. I think they had a good thing going from a brand perspective. What they were really doing was, and it's not the same as Airbnb because it is actually the exact opposite from the supply side. What they did was rebrand and make smaller hotels fresh and acceptable to people traveling to smaller towns, but it was more for the business oriented stuff. And weirdly enough, I think that just because Oyo is declining, it could be possible. So that's one factor I thought. The second factor I thought which could have an impact, as you mentioned, industry, and tourism, but also disposable incomes. I think
hmm.
disposable incomes have increased, and they are certainly going to have an impact on people discovering India much more, especially when maybe Europe is still a little too expensive, except for the Z and MD types, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, if you look at the tier one population,
Mm.
our thought process is generally that I'm going to spend 30,000 on going to Goa.
Yeah.
Rather than that, let me just spend that 30, 40,000 going to Thailand,
Yes.
right? And then the tier two people are coming to looking at more of the Indian cities. Udaipur is seeing a lot of traffic. Jaipur is seeing a lot of traffic. So the tier two, three cities, they are roaming around India while the tier one is going out. So
Yeah.
that also gives us a very good question. Number one, there has always been a charm about India,
Mm.
especially for the foreign residents, right? People want to immerse to India. Secondly, the FPIs are coming in. There will be more trickling in international, not just tourists but businessmen to India. So there is a very good opportunity for these hotels, hospitality companies that are going to the tier two, three cities to not just spread their hotel business around, but actually make it a very culturally immersive space for the international tourists, for the tier one tourists to increase the tourism of India because they're getting a very good backing from the government.
I think what you're saying is so interesting, right? Because what you're talking of is not conventional brand building, right?
Yeah.
If I look at conventional brand building, what would you do? What you would do essentially is you would look at, let's say, okay, I'm extending this. So I'm extending this. So therefore, there has to be consistency, and therefore there has to be the same brand values. The McDonald's franchise approach, let's say. So that's one. The second would be, oh no, we can't do this, so we need to actually have sub brands. So you can have a Taj coming up with a ginger, maybe, and then getting that ginger brand across, but it's still sub branding. What you're talking of is something which is quite different, and I want to take a step back and I want to explain a TikTok trend which you're not exposed to in India, but I will tell you a TikTok trend about India, right, on TikTok. So there are people, European travelers, who go to India, and there's two kinds of travelers. One kind of traveler is the one who's just pointing out all nonsense, terrible things about India, saying that it's so dirty. See how dirty it is. It's
Yeah.
so filthy. I got the people are not allowing me in this hotel. This, that, and the other. Right. So that was one side of the story. The second side of the story, and these are all not brown, not brown people, I would say. So the second side of the story is people saying, please don't pay attention to these people. India has, yes, sure, it has some of that, but look at this beautiful stuff and look at that beautiful stuff. And there's this trend going. Now, the
Yeah.
reason why I took this step back and talk about maybe what TikTok can inform us is herein lies a great opportunity for brand building, which is culturally specific, but
Right.
focused more on organic content or maybe content building. What do you think?
No, that's very true. Now taking your McDonald's example, starting with that, right? Now, first, when McDonald's came to India, it wasn't a great success because there was a
No.
lot of non-vegetarian food, right?
Yes.
So they made their food according to the Indian palate, and it has been a booming success.
Yes.
When McDonald's went to France, they tried to keep the same consistency, but the McDonald's in France is like a luxury setup,
Oh yeah.
right?
Have you
You get macarons there.
seen Pulp Fiction? Have you seen the movie Pulp Fiction and the conversation? Oh, you have to. The conversation between John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in the car, wherein Samuel L. Jackson's character explains to John Travolta, saying that you know what they call this burger in France? They call it Mac Royale. You know, and that's how the conversation goes. But anyways, sidebar aside, let's come back to the McDonald's story that you were telling us.
Yeah. So this is a very good example of even the chains who want to keep a consistency, how they can bring in the cultural elements of that place. For example, if Taj is going, or say a lemon tree is going to Jaipur, or to Chittorgarh, don't just make it normal bland rooms, right? Make it a culturally immersive, like a chowki thani sort of a setup, where
Hmm.
people can feel at home that they are in Rajasthan even when they are in a branded hotel.
Yeah.
Now, right, this is one thing. And the second TikTok trend that you mentioned, right? So I completely agree with you on this, that there are two sides of the story: the India that was, the India that is today. Now, definitely there has to be a push on the content side, on platforms that are more internationally facing, not just our Coup or Instagram, but things that the international audience interacts with more, like TikTok, for example. And this is a very good opportunity for any brand, not just the hotel brand, but any allied chain that is going to these tier 2 or 3 cities, to show the new kind of India, to show how beautiful Ayodhya has become now, the attractions that are in Ayodhya. Uh, right, I met a number of foreigners who were roaming around in Varanasi and Ayodhya last time I went, right, during the Holi and all, and they have been telling their past experiences in UP to their present experiences, the kind of hotels that are coming up right now. They are more of homestays, but the local businesses, they themselves are expanding into bigger hotel chains,
Yeah.
right? So there is a very tough competition that the brands are going to face in the coming years, with these tier 2 3 population getting more empowered and starting their own chains, getting more resources, getting more capital from the government, from the Incredible India initiative. So the bigger brands, the chains, they need to take a very very quick action to penetrate into the tier 2 3 setups before they are not able to anymore. So this Gurgaon setup cannot work in a Gwalior.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go to the headline of our story. Can a Gurgaon setup be recreated in Gwalior? And apparently not. You know, I will take two takeaways from this conversation of ours, and it is interesting. First is you talked of more of a product development route from from a branding perspective. So a product
Right.
development route, making sure that products are actually having an impact in a different way than just being standardized. So I think that is certainly there. The second that I was talking about, which is organic content, may be developed through micro and nano influencers who are part of that Gwalior city, who
Yeah.
are creating it for maybe a hotel chain as a sponsor, could very
Correct.
well be a way in which you can differentiate your branding. And then you can also put it on TikTok, just get express VPN maybe, or do something like that, and put it on TikTok to make sure that you attract the international travelers as well. So
Exactly.
these are the couple of thoughts that I'm taking away from this conversation. What do you think, Janvi?
Yeah, and I'll just like to add one more thing. Apart from these two, apart from the main industries taking leverage of this trend, this is a very good opportunity for brand collaborations as well to
Mm,
make an entire infrastructure logistics out of it.
yes.
Hotel chains collaborating with Uber, Ola,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
or Zomato, Swiggy. So there is a world that can be captured by just this trend, and this is a very newer shift that is happening. So there is a very good chance for these brands or for the local chains to just catch on to latch on to this upcoming trend and rebrand themselves for the newer India.
I'll tell you something. We should take inspiration from the Kardashians on this one, and I'll just keep it secret because I want to make a full episode on this one soon. The Kardashians have just kind of expanded what you were talking about, and they have blown it up. And this is a new emerging marketing area that I would love to speak to you about. Maybe the next time when we meet.
Part
Right?
two coming up, people.
Parts of coming up, but not about hospitality, maybe about the Kardashians. Let's see. Let's see. On that happy note, have a great Monday, people. If I'm too enthusiastic, please forgive me. I've had a cup of coffee.
Or just go back to the office, you'll get depressed.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. On that happy note, bye.